Step onto the field. I'm Josh Jenkins. And there's no Patrick Dangerfield. Seriously, he has a third child, and you'd think the world has absolutely caved in. Oh, little Winnie doesn't sleep. I've got no spare time. I can't make it. I can't record. I've got time to come over and borrow some of your podcasting equipment, but I've got no time to actually podcast. We just start to gain some traction in the YouTube sphere, and he's a no-show. He wins a premiership, he has a new baby, and he is a genuine no-show. It is staggering, but never fear. I'll press on my own on today's version of The Field with JJ and No Danger. Now, it's a bit different because my voice is gone. This is as good as I've sounded for the past 24, 48 hours, and one of those viruses where you feel so bad. So you go to the doctor, and the local doctor says, oh, gee, you've got a bad virus. Your throat's red raw. Your ears look a little bit yucky. Your eyes are a little bit this and that. Okay, doc, that's great. Tell me all the things that are wrong with me. Can you tell me how to fix it? Water and rest. I mean, seriously, I've got 3 kids under 4. The rest is not happening. And how much water can you possibly drink? So that's where I'm at, but at least I'm here. And it is, as I said, a 4-in-1 or a 3 or 4-in-1 version of The Field this week. We're going to cover horsepower. We're going to cover the NFL. We're going to cover the NBA, and we're going to cover our usual segments, your favorite segments as well. So let's get stuck straight in with the AFL news of the week. Also, before we get into that, the giveaways. We promised the giveaways for our randomly selected YouTube subscriber. I've come up with 2. I couldn't narrow it down. So 2 winners of the signed Geelong jumper for those who subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thanks to everyone who subscribed. We're up over 1,000 subscribers. So things are going well. Absolutely appreciative of that. And also touchdown tipping for those who follow and listen to the Field NFL. You'll know touchdown tipping's a tipping competition where you have to get the exact scoreline from the exact game perfectly right. I've actually done it this year. If you go on to thefieldau.com and have a look at the NFL picks week by week, I got a game exactly right. The right score, the right winner, and the right loser. Now, no one's done it yet, but I figure it's time to give some stuff away. So I've got a few giveaways there. 3 giveaways. 3 people have not necessarily nailed it, but gotten so close they all deserve a jumper. So we're giving away 5 signed Geelong Cats footy jumpers on this week's edition of The Field with JJ and No Danger. So stay tuned for that, particularly if you think you might be one of those winners. But AFL news, as I said, Ross Lyon is the new head coach of the St Kilda Football Club, the St Kilda Football Club, the Saints. He's back after 11 years. And he famously walked out and left St Kilda as a bit of a dumpster fire. He's gone. He's back, sorry. He went to Freo, now he's back. Interesting that he was the only person sought out for the job. Now, I mean, I'm no CEO, I'm no president, I'm no football manager, I'm no businessman, but it's hard to suggest that you've absolutely gone all out in your pursuit of finding the best person if you only ask one person. You only speak to one person. So no doubt Ross Lyon is a professional coach. He belongs under the banner of being a coach more so than being in the media. He's been good in the media, but he is a coach. He was always going to come back. And to see him come back to the Saints is surprising to me. Whether he can be the quote-unquote savior, I guess time will tell. We shall see. But Ross the boss is back. And I'm also interested to see how he treats the media, because he's been in the media. He's been collecting a paycheck from the media, Triple M and Channel 9. Will he be kind to the press? Now he's been on the other side. I'm not so sure about that. The concussion news and the ongoing saga that is concussion and that situation just continues to press on, and it will not be going away anytime soon. The AFL came out this week and apologised to players for underfunding the program, but Man, this is a tricky one. There's a video, I've watched it a few times. I haven't watched it recently, but it reminded me of this situation. There's a video online. I might even tweet the link. It's a YouTube video where Chris Carter, a former NFL legend, talks about being scared from getting concussions when he played football and knowing teammates who are no longer themselves, or some who have even committed suicide on the back of, you know, their issues with concussion and how it changes their life. But he also talks about the fear of that, but also what football did for him and his family. He came from nothing. He was I think he was a drug addict at one stage. Now he's a Hall of Famer in the NFL. So he really wrestles with, you know, what the game did for him, but being scared and whether he'd allow his kids to play football or not. So it's a really good video. And why I bring that up is, now look, I never had a concussion when I played AFL footy. I certainly got a couple of knocks to the head, but I never was diagnosed with a concussion. So some people will say, well, you're not really fit to comment, but it's a really difficult situation because I feel for the medical staff. I feel for the players who are impacted. Of course, you know, I've seen Sean Smith and John Barnes and a few others come out in the press, and I feel for the medical staff because they always act under the rules of the present. Sorry. What we know now is completely different to what we knew back then. So, you know, we've brought in concussion subs, we've brought in 12-day concussion protocols, we've changed the protocols, we've enhanced the protocols. So, it just seems like there's going to be no likely or just outcome for anyone. I guess it's just a situation where we try and get better all the time. But to be honest, ultimately, it feels like to me it's going to get to a point where in the NFL, in the AFL, and any sports that have physical contact, it might get to a point where if you are willing to play, then you run the risk of whatever concussion might do to you. Now, that sounds very crass, and maybe it is too simplistic and a little bit harsh to say. And again, I don't suffer from long-lasting impacts to the head, but it's hard to lay it all at the feet of the AFL and the medical staff as well. So it's a situation that we wish we didn't have to deal with, but we are dealing with all the same. Big Cat, Tommy Hawkins, good friend of mine, he's going to undergo surgery for a foot ailment. Now, this is how good the big man is. He had this foot ailment during the finals. He didn't even train before the grand final. There you go. There's a little scoop. He didn't even train before the grand final, but you wouldn't know it because he kicked 3 in the first half, and he basically took that game away from the Swans the way he was able to grab it out of the ruck and dominate. Now, the report says round 1 could be in doubt, but knowing him, I'd say he is a lock for round 1. Excuse me, just had to have a little cough. Lucky I've got a mute button. Now, the other bit of news in the AFL is the Medisub seems to be extinct. We're going to a 5-man interchange, or at least that is what is being reported. My question is, we had a 4-man or 4-person interchange bench, and losing one of the 4 was seen as an unfair and unjust scenario. So how's 23 versus 22 any different? How is a 5-person bench and losing the 5th person on the bench to a concussion or an injury any different to what we've just changed? So just my take. Perhaps 23 versus 22 is an acceptable risk, but surely it's not that much difference to 22 versus 21. Anyway, let's go elsewhere in some different sports. And Serena Williams, the GOAT, she says she's not retired. She says that she didn't retire as such. She just stepped away from tennis, and there's a very good chance she might get back on the court. That was not something I saw coming because she's not young and she's done it all, and there's not much left for her to do on the tennis court, but apparently she may still return to the court. Excuse me. Red Bull Racing in the Formula One world, they've got a fight on their hands, not on the track because Max Verstappen is literally speeding away with another world title, but it's his first world title that might be under some query because the team overspent last year. They burst the budget. They overspent the salary cap that is in place to try and equalise the Formula One world. Now, where this lands is interesting. Whether they stripped of their constructors title, I don't think Max will be stripped of his world championship. I think the likely outcome is just a financial punishment. So it's interesting because it's effectively cheating, but I don't think at this point in time, Red Bull will be stripped of their world titles from last year. And the NBA, despite a nightmare first few games for Ben Simmons, and the Nets are 1-2, Big Ben has fouled out twice out of the Nets' first 3 games. And after missing all of last season, it's no surprise to see him struggling and a little bit rusty, to be honest. But let's hope his play ticks upward soon. He hasn't been keen to get too many shots up. Hopefully the Nets can play a bit faster and get him involved in transition. But a bit of a shaky start for Ben Simmons and the Nets. Young gun Aussie Dyson Daniels, in better news for Aussies. He got his first court time, or his first legitimate court time for the Pelicans in today's game against Dallas, and it was a good win by the Pelicans without Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Daniels, the Bendigo kid, the boy from Bendigo, played 22 minutes and had 11 points and grabbed 3 boards. He looked really good too on both ends of the floor. The Blazers, they're off to a great start. They're 4-0. You've got Damian Lillard back, Jeremy Grant's, of course, there, joins the team from Detroit. And Anthony Simons was absolutely on fire yesterday. And going from good to bad, the Lake Show, they are yuck. Excuse me. They are yuck. They're zipping 3 at time of recording, Wednesday afternoon. And LeBron, well, he's having to do it all again by himself. He's averaging 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. There's drama all around Russell Westbrook and the shadow of whether he will play and whether he has a spot with his team. But the fact is, this team cannot shoot the ball. They are putrid from beyond the arc, and I mean putrid. They are woeful from downtown. So we'll follow the NBA with interest. The Lakers will follow for all the wrong reasons, but we'll continue to follow the good teams like your Portlands, like your Phoenix Suns, like your Golden State Warriors, and see what's what as the NBA season rolls along. The NBL, it's cooking as well. The road teams are winning at a stupid rate. So last week, 6 of the 8 underdogs won, and the week before, 6 of the 8 underdogs won again. So if you're a betting man or betting person, and I am, of course, betting on the underdogs is a great way to make money in the NBL. You would be on fire. The best team I've seen, still the Sydney Kings. They look like the best team in the NBL, and I'd be getting on them to win that chip. But there's a long way to go in the NBL. Now, I want to have a look at some NFL action, but I want to give away these 3 touchdown tipping jumpers first. Now, 3 winners. Technically no winners because I'm the only one who's landed it exactly. But these 3 people get a signed Geelong jumper. So if you're listening or watching and they're not, tell them, let them know, get in touch with us. I've got your email, so I'll let you know anyway. Firstly, Bailey Holmes. The guess was Minnesota 24, Miami 17. The correct score was 24-16. Pretty damn good, if you ask me. So Bailey Holmes, well done. The second, Matt O'Neill. His guess was Buffalo 38, Pittsburgh 0. The score was 38-3. Now, that is pretty good. Yes, 3 points off, but that is pretty damn good. And Casper Munro Lynch, he guessed Cincinnati 34, Atlanta 17. It was 35-17, 1 point off, high scoring, almost nailed it. So Bailey Holmes, Matt O'Neill, and Casper Munro Lynch, you all get a signed Geelong jumper by Patrick Dangerfield, not by me, by Patrick Dangerfield, if I can track him down. So well done. If you want to get involved in touchdown tipping, all you need to do is go to thefieldau.com, go to touchdown tipping, click on the tab, then put in your name, your email, guess the game and the score. And if you get it right, just like Casper, Matty O, and Bailey Boy, you will win a signed Geelong jumper. All right. Our quick NFL recap, because we're zipping through everything. And our NFL recap is brought to you by Easies. the best comfort food, the coldest beer, and even a golf simulator in the basement, all available at Easy's, 48 Easy Street, Collingwood, or go to the socials at Easy's on IG or easys.com.au, the best in the business. Now, Green Bay stink, Tampa Bay stink, and what about Tom Brady? He's below 500 this late in the season for the first time since 2002. Tom B and the offense scored 3 points against the woeful Carolina Panthers, if you don't mind. Green Bay, they're not much better. The New York teams, well, they keep rolling. The Giants are 6-1. The Jets are 5-2, if you don't mind. The Seahawks are atop the NFC West, if you can believe that. Kansas City, they reminded us how good they are, rolling into Santa Clara and dropping 44 on the Niners, who spoiled the debut of Christian McCaffrey. Now, my top 5 teams in the NFL after 7 weeks. At 5, Cincinnati. They're back, my Bengals. Joe's smoking, 481 and 4 TDs. Jamar Chase is doing his thing, and the schedule looks real kind to them across the next month of the season. Minnesota at 4. I've believed ever since Kevin O'Connell took the job from Mike Zimmer, an offensive focus, the best receiver in football in Justin Jefferson, and a talented back and a talented defense who are all playing well. Philly at 3, they're unbeaten, the only unbeaten team in football. They're powerful in the trenches. The QB is improving, and they've got a lockdown corner in Darius Slay, and that is important in today's NFL. Kansas City at 2. No cheating, no worries. Kansas City keeps rolling. They go into Santa Clara, as I mentioned, drop 40+ on one of the best defensive fronts in football. And the best team in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills. They've got Josh Allen. They've got 2 devastating receivers and a staunch defense. And we're not even yet at the time for Buffalo football weather, where it is terribly hard to go to Buffalo and win games of football. So that's the NFL for this week. Well done to those who got involved and won the jumpers. I've got your email, so I'll be sending them to you soon. Now, let's go from 3 jumpers to 2 more jumpers. Our YouTube subscriber giveaway. Sorry for the delay, but I've been a little crook and Pat's been AWOL. But the winner is, just let me clear the throat. The winner is, I've got 2 winners. Ham and Cheese 481. That's Ham and Cheese 481. And Troy Boy. So Troy Boy and Ham and Cheese 481. I need you to get in contact with me because I don't have your contact details. Send us an email via thefieldau35@gmail.com. That is thefieldau35@gmail.com, and we'll get those jumpers out to you. That's Troy Boy and Ham and Cheese 481. Well done. Get in touch with us so we can get you those jumpers. So there you go. 5 jumpers given out, if you don't mind. Now, let's go and have a look at some racing as well. Now, there is a special horsepower podcast that is dropping this week with a special and lucky chat with Craig Williams, the 69-time Group 1 winning jockey. He's incredible, and he was good enough to give us a few minutes as he looks toward Cup Week next week. But last week on the racing front, Animo proved he's the king of Australian racing. Sorry, Nature Strip, but I think Animo is the new king. 7-time Group 1 winner, 4 from 4, all Group 1s this spring, with hopefully 1 more to come. Thunderstruck was good in 2nd, and my selection, Al Bodegon, was good in 3rd. Bella Nipotina got her Group 1 in the Manikato Stakes after it was moved from Friday to Saturday following some horrific storms on the Friday night. This week, it is Derby Day, one of the best days on the calendar. And here's a few picks. I'll tell you what, I haven't been right through the form. It's only Wednesday afternoon, and a lot of the markets have only just come out. But in the Coolmore, I'm going to go for In Secret, the Godolphin filly, because they are absolutely airborne. And James McDonald takes the ride. Say no more. In the Derby, Pericles each way, same stable. I think Pericles can be the new horse on the spot, particularly at a good price. And in the Empire Rose, La Creek, she's a proper Kiwi mare, so I think she will get the job done there. as I said, make sure you go and have a look across the Field socials and the Field podcast, because Craig Williams joined us this week for a special chat, and he is an amazing ambassador, and he remains at the very top of his profession. And if you have a listen to the podcast, you'll understand why. Have a listen to the chat. He's so meticulous. He's so driven. He's so detailed. He's got a great team around him. He trusts the people around him, and he was absolutely fantastic to speak to. He is just a star, in that chat with Craig was all thanks to My Racehorse. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app to get your share in the next potential superstar from just $80. $80, as I've said, you can get involved in My Racehorse's stable of stars. Elite racing, affordable ownership. That is what My Racehorse does. So get involved there if you can. Just one little tidbit before we get off the racing scene, for those who like to have a flutter. And this is one of Ross Stevenson's little bugbears, something he's been tracking on That's Racing. Now, I head in and do a little spot on That's Racing from week to week with Ross and Hamish McLaughlin. If you like to have a bet, if you're a punter and you also read the newspaper, just figure this. If you see a model or an influencer posing with a racehorse on the morning of a big race, photographed in the paper, the horse can't win. They can't win. If you ever see someone posing with a horse, it was Zaki last week, just remember this, the horse can't win. So you've been warned. You have been warned. If you see a horse on the front page of the Herald Sun or the Age or whatever paper it is, the horse can't win. The horse cannot win. All right, let's go to our favourite segments because the voice is fast running out. Danger's off the grid. He's off to Harvard soon, so we better get an in-depth look into his Harvard life. And surely he's taking a wingman to do his homework, because talk about a fish out of water. Patrick Dangerfield at Harvard is the biggest fish out of water you've ever seen. I know he likes fishing, but seriously, Patrick Dangerfield at Harvard is laughable. But that's where he's going. Hopefully he can file a little report or even maybe come back to the podcasting scene. But the mirror is on Danger, because he's not kidding anyone with his trip to Harvard, particularly when he's got a 4-week-old kid at home as well. Now, Goose of the Week, T20 World Cup organisers. Fancy starting a game at 10 p.m. Last night, Tuesday night, Australia and Sri Lanka, the first ball was bowled at 10 p.m. You have got to be joking me. They wonder why people aren't interested in cricket at the moment, or playing a game with the host nation at 10 p.m. is utter madness. Goose of the Week for the T20 World Cup organisers, or the schedule makers. 3 votes to Donald Dickey, the former Port Adelaide power forward. He turned his NDIS business into a $40 million sale. I was reading this during the week. And as a family like ours who leans on the NDIS a fair bit, we say well done. And the more the merrier when it comes to funding and programs for the service. But Donald is now $40 million richer, and we are saying well done to that indeed. So that's Mirror on the Media. That's the Joe the Goose of the Week. And 3 votes. That's a little look across the world of sport. No danger. I'm here grinding away. As you can tell, my voice is completely shot, so I need to get out of here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Those who won a jumper and heard their name called out, make sure you send us an email so we can get your jumper to you. And of course, that email is thefieldau35@gmail.com. That is thefieldau35@gmail.com. We'll get those jumpers out to you. Thanks to our sponsors, Easy's, My Racehorse, and thanks to 7news.com.au for all their support. Jump on the socials, jump on the website. Don't forget Touchdown Tipping. If you want to win a jumper, make sure you keep subscribing and liking to the YouTube channel. Keep this thing rolling. I'm JJ. This has been The Field with JJ and Danger minus Danger. Hopefully we see the big man live from Harvard next week.